So I was dating a nice gentleman about a year in and working for him in the store, and Michael called me at 1 a.m. and said, "I need to talk to you." And I said, "Why, Michael? It's 1 a.m." And he said, "Because it's very important. I need to see you." So I got out of bed, said goodbye to Carlos. Sorry, kids. Drove to Marina del Rey, where he was living at the time, from Hermosa Beach, and met with him, and he said, "I have to see you in person and tell you I'm in love with you, and I need to be with you." So then I drove back home after getting that news and basically said, "Carlos, it's over. Sorry." We spent the next 5 or 6 years of our lives pulling and pushing, deciding if we should, if we could get married, what we should do. We talked to our guru about it. We talked to our friends about it. Everybody had a running joke about Susan and Michael. Finally, the guru shows up at the store one day. I'd just been to India and was working on an Indian wedding. And at the time, I was kind of ambivalent about whether I should be married to Michael. And this wedding was amazing, magnificent, spiritual, beautiful, deep, and profound. And I said to somebody next to me in the ashram that if ever I were to get married, I'd like to have an Indian wedding. Just then, the guru comes into the room, and this person yells out to her, "Guru Mai, Susan would like an Indian wedding." And because the running gag of us never getting married, she laughed and walked out of the room. Then she showed up at the jewelry store and said, "So when are you two getting married?" And Michael went, and I went, "Soon?" And she said, "You should get married in the ashram. We'll have a big Indian wedding for you, and Brahmin priests, and we'll give you a big celebration." So we got married in this temple that I helped to build when I was living in the ashram. And it was an amazing, profound, and beautiful day. There are actually pictures in the album in the back if you have a chance to look at them. It was a very, very special bonding between Michael and me. And even though 3 years later we divorced, we discovered that we were still friends, co-workers, and then soon along came William. Do we have any other slides in there, William, too? I want to show a few. Yeah. The first time Mike Deza and I brought William into the store, Michael fell in love. He met his soulmate, my son William. And after that, Michael changed. He'd been a little hard in the old days, and he did lecture everybody all the time. But after he met William, he softened. He still lectured us, right, Maggie? I mean, he never gave that up, but he never lectured William. He was kind and gentle, his loving second father. And he did everything he could to help us raise William. We even lived in a house together for 2 years. Mike Deza, Michael Taylor, William, and me. And I know it sounds crazy, but it actually worked. And those of you who knew us then and came to our home, it was an amazing space that we created, and it was thanks to Michael, bringing us together that way and his willingness to live with us. And Mike Deza, I must say, his willingness to allow my ex-husband to live under our roof. So, can you show that Christmas shot? I just want to take a look at that. Oh, and by the way, this one, I love this shot too. This is how Michael looked when I met him. Very hot. Rod Stewart. Everybody said Rod Stewart in those days. And then I think this is in the slideshow too. Before I get to that last one, do you have this one in there? Yeah. Okay. This is a good one. Look, we're twins. And my blind sister, Kathy. Yeah, when I met Michael, I had hair long like this, right? But Michael said, I think you would look much better with your hair short. So I end up cutting my hair, wearing boys' clothes. Okay, yeah, enough of that. I know I've got something else here I just want to share with you. Can you show that one again, Terry? Oh, okay. Yeah. By the way, this is my friend Terry, who's doing a great job with the AV today, and Brian, her boyfriend in the back, who is streaming this live for those people who couldn't be here with us today. Hello to all of you who are watching right now. This is the last picture that I have of William and Michael together. This was taken at Christmas last year in my apartment. We did our usual family gatherings, which always included Michael. He always came to everything, even to the Deza's house. He always participated in Deza family gatherings. He was just one of our family. Michael, you can see, looks a little thinner in this picture. He wasn't sharing with us how ill he was. We really didn't know what was wrong. We didn't know if he had, I thought maybe it was ulcers. I didn't really know, but it was obvious he'd lost weight, and people were asking us about him. But he didn't want to share that information. I don't think he wanted us to worry about him, and I don't think he wanted to make it real either. So I was one of the few people who had the honor of being with Michael in the hospital the last few days of his life. Edelyn was there, Maggie was there, Mike Deza, Sonia Deza, William, and Patty was there briefly too. And Nanette made an appearance at the end. Michael was surrounded by some really beautiful people in his last days. For the first 3 of those 6 days, he was on life support. And he couldn't speak. He had tubes down his throat, and he couldn't talk to us, but he was fully conscious. He didn't want pain medications, and he continuously refused them throughout this entire process, except a couple of times when you could see he was in great pain. But for the most part, he remained conscious and was able to respond to our questions. On the 4th day, the doctors made a decision to take him off life support. And I've got to say I was greatly relieved at that time, because we were able to go to a private room, and we set the space, didn't we? We made sure every nurse that walked into that room knew his name was Michael, not John. We made sure every nurse who walked into that room came in with beauty and peace and love in their hearts. And we surrounded him with that for the last 3 days. And I feel forever changed for having had that experience. I actually slept in his hospital room, and as was our relationship, I kept petting his arm and saying, Michael, you can let go. You can let go now. And so, of course, he didn't. He lived for 3 days after they took him off life support. And I had this wish, because I had to go shoot a wedding on this 6th day. And I had this wish that he would go while I was there. And I probably basically told him that before I had to leave to go and shoot the wedding. And Edelyn came to replace me. We always made sure somebody was there with him. So I went off to shoot the wedding, keeping my phone close in case a text would come from Edelyn. And as Michael was, he decided to die with beautiful Edelyn instead of me or Maggie, whose watch stopped because she was supposed to come and replace Edelyn, but her watch stopped. So she wasn't there when Michael finally took his last breaths. And then, because you're all friends, we'll tell the rest. Do you want to come up here and tell how it... Oh, okay.